some of the people we run into ask the same question time and time again. How do you assemble a program such as this? It must have a big crew, 50, 60, 100 people? Not so. In fact, today, my cameraman, Buck Dunseith, who's working on today's Open Road Adventure, he come up with this idea. He said, George, why don't we take the people into the studio and show them exactly how you assemble the show after we've been out and shot it? Pretty good idea, Buck, the second one he's come up with this year. Anyway, we decided we'd do that, so we've come into editing. This is the first thing that happens once we've come off the road. And today, Dan Bailey is the editor. Dan, let's cue up the opening. And Dan does all the work, the editing work here on Open Roads, and we sit in this very small editing booth, and we assemble what you're about to see. Stand by to roll the opening, and Dan Bailey, he's the man with all the magic fingers. He hits the right buttons at the right time. Yeah, stand by, do it.
Well, I started editing at a cable station in Tillsonburg, Ontario, and that led me to news editing here at CKCO. And from the news department, I joined production, which is putting together all the half-hour shows, commercials, things like that here at CKCO, and started working with George, I guess it was probably 2 or 3 months ago when Open Road's new season started. So I guess I've been with the show for about 3 months now. A lot of people think that the creative juices actually are created behind the scenes, but actually with Open Roads, it's below the scenes, and it starts off right here at the bottom. So we take our videotapes, and George maps out exactly what he likes, and usually we edit the audio track first, making sure that we have our time sequence all planned out for the half-hour show, and then we go back through and we insert all the shots of fish if we're fishing, or for example, there was a show a couple of weeks ago done on Indian dancing. We'll do the dance techniques, and so we start off with the audio on the show, edit that all complete, and then we pop in all the video shots over top of it to package it up. My job as editor on Open Roads is to make sure everything does fit tightly together. If anybody messes up in their lines as they're talking or anything like that, we'll make a simple edit. And to give you an idea of exactly what I do, I'll screw my line up, we'll make an edit, and we'll show you how it flows together. So this will be the mistake. I'll talk along and say, well, I really enjoy this show, and now making a simple edit to this videotape away from my face, which screwed up the last time, we can cut out things that necessarily don't need to be in the show. The nice thing about the Open Road show is that because everything isn't scripted down into detail, it gives the editors a chance to be creative, to add different types of shots and music together, and overall funny shots of George and Buck the cameraman every once in a while, throw shots of them in. This is probably one of the worst parts about television, is getting this ucky-gucky gooey stuff on your face. I know my problem, and the reason why I'm not working in front of the camera is because I'm not as beautiful as people like George, who have that attractiveness and are able to actually, show their face from weekend to weekend on television. But George actually isn't that beautiful. Most of the times when we're editing, if we do have troubles, he can become one of the ugliest cowboys that ever rode the earth.
We'll cut that. It's cut. Bailey, you're fired. Cut.
My name is Joe Ulmer. I'm a editor for the Open Road show I guess the other half of the, Dan Bailey and I cut most of his shows. I've been cutting your show for, I guess, 3 years now. It's almost 3 years since, yeah, I've been cutting it for about 3 years. And I've been happy doing it too, let me tell you. Oh, I'd say it's going on 5 years. I've been editing either on 2-inch and 1-inch upstairs or 3/4 and 1/2 inch down here. We are looking forward to this new production edit suite that's going to be coming in across the hall here. This will give us like switching abilities, which we'll be able to dissolve between pictures instead of always having to cut them. And apparently they're getting an ADO in there too, which will make like you can spin pictures around or make them invert themselves or things like that, which I think, wow, I'm looking forward to that. I can hardly wait. Your show is going to look like a real cracker then, boy. I know it does right now, by the way. It still looks great now, but it'll look even better then, boy. The one thing that I do notice that is different about your show is that I've found out quite a bit about what goes on in Ontario. Like you bring in these stories that, you know, I would have no idea that they were actually happening in Ontario. That there's so many interesting little things. I don't know where you dig them up. I think in the dictionary beside the word hustle for the definition of hustle, your picture is there. You know, it's just I'm amazed week after week, George, how you can arrange all these things and how you're friendly with so many people. When I guess they don't really know you all that well, though, I suppose. I noticed one thing with this show is that you do have the, I don't know what you would call it, the creative freedom, or like you're pretty well left on your own with a lot of George's help, of course. I must add that, George, you do help, and you give us a very wide direction in which to go, but still I think the majority of it is left up to us as far as what the bee is going to look like and how the show is going to look, which is what I enjoy.
That will be cut.
I know, I thought so, okay. If I had the power to change one thing in television as it is today, I think, well, the next obvious step for TV, as far as I'm concerned, is stereo. It's got to go into stereo. Like, we've done as much as we can with the video itself. We can make it flip, we can change colors, we can do all sorts of fancy things with the video, but we are going to get into stereo. That is the next obvious step as far as I'm concerned. We'll be editing in stereo, and you'll be able to watch it at home in stereo. Did you know that the Johnny Carson show has been recorded for the last 3 years in stereo?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because they're waiting for the day. They're waiting for the day.
Back to work.
Back to work, okay. Cut.
My name is Pat Fitzgerald. I'm production supervisor at CKCO-TV. I've been working with the company for 18 years. Been in production for about 10 months, and prior to that I've been working in operations. Primary function is to make sure that the production flow, the day-to-day production flow on the station, goes as smooth and as possible. And to deal with people like outside producers like a George Hewitt or Peter McGugan, people like that, and to make sure that the facilities that we require are available, and the number of people that's required on a shoot. Just the way you do the show, it's probably once I assign a photographer to that given day or 2-day shoot, I probably don't hear about it till it comes back, and you request some edit time or post-production time. George Hewitt is unusual in himself anyway. But the only difference in George's show as opposed to other shows like that we do, like Banter or Hockey Talk, that George's show it's shot in the field on location, and the only facilities we need after is post-production, and it's just mastered to 1 inch or 2 inch depending on what's assigned to it, and the opening is pre-produced, the closing is pre-produced, and that's it. It's a tight show. George his humor is somewhat similar when he's in the station as on location. I'll give you an example. On occasion, he's been preempted, and there was over the Grey Cup period. He was preempted, and he came into my office and just happened to use my phone, and then just handed the phone over to me, and it was the guest that was going to be on his show on that day, and he just gave me the phone and asked me to explain it to him, which, you know, a lot of other hosts or people would not do, but that's the sort of guy George Hewitt is.
My name's Brian Dunseith, and I'm a photographer for several shows in the station at CKCO, and George Hewitt is one of the gentlemen with whom I have the pleasure of working, or displeasure of working sometimes. I've been with the station for about 10 years now. I worked at a couple of smaller stations in the north before I came down here, and I've come to the realization that I really like the area. I like the job that I work on, and I really enjoy going out with the camera and recorder and doing shows like George's. Several years ago, while I was working in the studio, George used to come in and package his show through the studio. And in doing so, he had to fill a certain amount of time to make a show come out to 28 minutes and 50 seconds long. So he would incorporate studio people to fill that time. I was one of the people that was involved in that, and down through the years, I managed to hit George in the face with a pie. I managed to take a funnel and put a gallon of water down his pants and throw a bucket of water at him, and there were other things we wanted to do to him, like maybe light his pants on fire and things like that, but we never quite got that chance.
No, but maybe it's this door here. Oh, yeah.
Hey, George, I've been wanting to know how come you know so much about gold.
Well, I was panning gold in the Yukon. You see, first you take a gold pan, you get your gravel in there, and it's important to have water. If you're going to look for gold, you have to have a lot of water. And you swish it around like this, you see.
Did you find any gold?
Well, yes, I found a lot of gold up there.
A lot of gold.
And you take the gravel, you swish it. Water is important.
You have always been full of a lot of things, but you've never been full of gold.
Who is this kid anyway? Yeah, well, that's how you get gold. Lots of water, lots of water.
Let's see some gold.
Well, I don't have any with me.
You don't have any with you?
Oh, I have a gold filling right here.
Well, let's see that. That's good enough.
Gold filling right here, Mama. You take a look. Do not touch. You know anything about that, Earl?
Yeah, don't stick a finger in it.
Don't touch it. Anyway, we're going up here to Baker Lake. You all heard of the Russian satellite that come across here some while back, and it's supposed to... Do not touch. Tom, do you know anything? Well,
I wouldn't touch it if I were you, George.
don't touch it. We're going up to Northwest Territories. We're going to discover some scientific research being done at Baker Lake. And Tom, we're going to meet some of the Eskimo kids up there, the greatest people you ever seen. Do not touch. Do not touch.
Well, my name's Paul Francescutti. I'm a director here at CKCO Television. I've been doing George's show now for, I guess, about 5-6 years now. My job, basically, is to take all the elements of tape, graphics, all the separate entities of a show that are put together by different people and meld them into one complete show. Cameras, studio, effects, put it together so it's a clean, interesting-looking package. If there's any problems, it's up to me to spot them and correct them. Myself, I prefer live rather than tape, just putting tape together. I prefer the live studio introductions, interviews. It was always fun because it was live. It was live pre-tape rather than you going out shooting something, just bring it upstairs and we just piece it together. There was a chance to go over the script, maybe make a few changes. Different people would be able to put their input in if they saw someplace where you could improve. The memorable one for me is when I almost ran over you with my motorcycle. You asked me to bring my motorcycle into the studio. I think you were doing a show on hill climbs or motocross. So, and this goes back as to what I was saying is when we're doing something in the studio, we could think of these things. So we had a motocross show. I had my motorcycle here, and we got together and we thought, well, it'd be a good idea to maybe have a real motorcycle come into the studio. So we had it all staged that I was just going to slowly drive up. George was sitting on a barrel, and we practiced it once. We rehearsed it once just to see what it looked like, and then I got an idea into my head. I said, this time I'm gonna come sailing out really fast. I'm gonna hit that barrel. and just see what kind of reaction we got out of George. Well, you should have seen the look on his face when I come tearing out of there. Laid a little patch of rubber there. And just before I hit the barrel, I hit the horn and hit the binders, and it was squealing all over the place. But George handled it pretty good. He had a really surprised look on his face, but he handled it like a professional, and we kept that one take. And it went to air as such. But we've lost it.